What really matters in AI is not model building. It's not those complex modeling. What really matters is data. It's how you collect data, how you process data. So I will explain why I think so, and my experience in these videos. So just a brief introduction for myself. I'm a data scientist, AI researcher. I've been working in AI for quite a while, and myself, I'm a physicist by training. So I really like to break down those math on the papers and understanding the inner working of the models, AI models. So this kind of thing is very fancy. It's actually fancy. It's also a lot of people are attractive to this kind of thing. If you are a math person, you will definitely find this super interesting. So a lot of people may think, oh, actually, this mathematical skill, deep understanding of AI module math is super important. It's a really advantage in AI field. But after working in the industry for kind of 5 years, I really think what really matters in AI is data. I'll just take some examples here. For example, you probably heard of GPT-3, which is a very powerful language models done by OpenAI. And we basically just use the transformer model, which is a kind of a basic model in neural NLP. They didn't change the architecture at all. Then what it makes it really powerful is they train this model on basically the whole internet of data, so that it learns a lot of things. And how they can collect the data from the whole internet, it's because they do a lot of data engineering. That's actually where the tedious work come from. If you want to build another GPT-3, you basically need to work on the data collection process, data pre-processing process, and apart from this, you also need to know how to train this kind of model in the distributed systems, because one GPU wouldn't be enough to train this model. You need to know how to update your gradient in a synchronous way so that you can train a large model. So I would really say data collection, data processing, data warehousing techniques are very valuable in AI, and also how to train large model in distributed system. If it's also really important. So for the modeling part, they basically didn't do too much of modeling. They didn't tweak, they didn't change, modifies the transformer architecture. Okay, so this is one example. And also OpenAI has a lot of other work. For example, DALL-E, which is the text to image model. So it also uses the transformer architectures, and they use a very innovative way to put it text and the image to input and output, so the model can learn end to end to get a text and generate images. And they didn't change the architecture. They didn't change the architecture this time. So it's using the same architecture of transformer and turn on a lot of data. And this data actually, they also spend a lot of time processing. I can bet you that most of their work was done in the data pre-processing. And also, I train a lot of GPUs. So this is another example. So I would just say, if you really look at a lot of applications now, they must use, if it's NLP, they use transformers. If it's computer vision, they use a lot of existing model architecture, mobile nets, or something, or even some transformers, because of the AI in the AI world, AI area is really, really open about this, about models. So you can basically, to get latest models, if you want, they just one gig clone away, then you can get the latest model architecture. But what they don't give you is the model, the train model. So you need to train yourself. And what they also, a lot of work, they also only provide you the research public data set, but they won't be valuable for your problem. So you need to collect your the data, they can solve your problem. That's actually the hardest part. Then use the existing models. Maybe you make some tweaks, but they won't be too much. Then train on the data, then your model will be sophisticated enough to solve your problems. So if we just reorganize our thoughts, we can definitely find out how to frame the problem is definitely one very important thing. Another thing is how to collect data, how to pre-process data, because a lot of data, raw data, are far from the trainable data. So you need to do a lot of data processing to really make them usable for your model. So I would really say the data itself is very important, because if you want to build a company on AI, there's have some barrier to entry, some competitive advantage. You need to have data that now other people can have. And in terms of skills that you want to hire, is probably someone who can deal with data really well. And for the models, it's really not as important as you think. If especially if you are from the just out of school, you probably learn a lot of AI architecture, transformer, convolutional neural network, recurrent neural networks, that kind of thing. That's really fancy and it's really, really beautiful. I really like reading those papers and understand those math a lot, but I really find out that's not the most important thing, because so far the AI software is so sophisticated, so convenient. It's not like 5 years ago you need to code from scratch every layers, but now you just use transformer, Hugging Face layers, and that will be like package, make it API is super useful, and for majority of time you don't need to modify too much. So that's really, really what changed, and what really valuable is to know how to process those data to make it data cleaning. And also, if you want for your company, your products, you better build on top of the kind of data that only you have. Then you can really have a competitive advantage. Let's say if you build on some public data sets, some other people can really easily replicate your work. Maybe one intern can do as good as your model, because they can also train on public data sets. And also focusing on some specific domain and collect the data. Maybe if initially you don't have data, then try to collect collect those data sets and to build your competitive advantage. So there's actually, this video is a little bit unorganized. There are two advisors. Once, if you want to build an AI company, focus on the data, the data that you own, you have. And another is for like skill acquisitions. Data processing work is actually 80% or even 90% of the data scientist work. So try to focus on that, try to practice that, doing some side projects and collect the data, process the data from scratch. You will learn a lot. And as for modeling, that's if you're a math person, I think even you don't have to have any incentives. You will be driven to understand more, and definitely understand the deep understanding of that is still important, which I'll make another videos on that. So yeah, that's a fairly unorganized video. So thank you for watching till this point. And if you would like to receive more my thoughts about AI industry, don't forget to subscribe. I'm planning to make more videos if someone's really interested in these topics. Okay, other than that, I will see you next time.